Dobrý den, milé dámy, já vás vítám u našeho druhého dílu podcastu modeláš.cz, kde se mi velkou ctí přivítat vzácného hosta, dámu s velkým D, spoluzakladatelku jedné z největších světových značek v oblasti nechtové modeláže. Tím hostem je nikdo jiný než Jan Arnold, spoluzakladatelka značky CND.
Thank you for being here and welcome in our podcast.
Oh, it's so good to see you. Thank you for having me. I love this. When did we see each other last? Maybe 6 months ago.
Yes, it was in March in Barcelona. Yeah. We're in a Revlon company, the warehouse or the factory. Yeah, the factory.
Yeah. No, I think we were on a tour together with funny hats on.
Will you be on the another event this March? Will you attend as well?
Oh, definitely. Of course. I would never miss it. Yeah. I find, when we all get together, there's some magic that happens, right? Yeah. The ideas and the collaboration. And for me, that's the exciting side of the business, is to put our creative minds together and craft the future plan. So can't wait to see you soon.
Yeah, it's always nice to see all the distributor and also the whole CND team, because the exchange of all these informations from different markets, and different minds, it's very beneficial for the business, I guess.
It's amazing. Plus, we have to say, Daniel, we always have fun together. That's really important.
Yeah, that's very important. I was like, I think I was chatting with you about this, or maybe Svetla, that the CND was based on partying.
Yes.
Always about the partying and meeting up to each other.
Yeah, and I always figured, Daniel, that you can do business together, you can sit in a meeting together, but if you can party together, for me, that's the ultimate trust. And it's the ultimate creativity. So it's really true. For the first 20 years of our business, every single year we would host an amazing party. And, that's, if you're not loving who you're working with and how you're working, then why do it, right?
Yeah, Jen, you told me that you were in California. So, and you told me that this is the place where all the CND story basically has begun, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, one of my first questions is about where all this started. Well, where all this started and how all this started. Who got the idea? Where the idea came from? Can you tell us more about this part of the CND history?
It's my pleasure. So when I go back in time, it was over 45 years ago, right up the freeway. I'm in San Diego. Our lab is in Vista. But in Oceanside, California, my father, who was a dentist and a chemist, he had a dental practice, and he had a nail professional come to him, and he was doing a crown, like a bonding on her tooth. It dawned on her that what she was using back then to lengthen and strengthen and enhance the nail was a single link polymer, meaning all of the molecules lined up in only one direction, meaning you would have to build it thick. It turned yellow in the sun, and it's always sunny here, so that's not good. A tendency to lift. There were all kinds of problems. So she said, it dawns on me that whatever you're using on teeth would really work for nails. Can you mix me up something? So my dad said, give me a sample of what you're using now. He had a big laboratory set up in the garage of our house in Oceanside. And when he discovered that what was being used was a single link polymer, his idea is let's cross-link the molecular chains, making it tough, thin, color stable, and resilient. And so he mixed it up. He gave it to her to try. She loved it. She told 2 friends. They told 6 friends. And all of a sudden in San Diego, my dad at night would be getting these calls like, Dr. Nordstrom, I heard about this stuff. Can I get some? And my mom thought he was going through midlife crisis. Like, why are you on the phone with all these women? My dad, he submitted for a patent and he received
Nice.
it. And that was the day that he sat down with his 5 kids and he said, okay, guys, I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is I have this amazing patent, like it's based on something that is truly unique in the nail business. The bad news is I don't want to start a business. He had some heart issues. He was an active dentist. And anyway, so he said to us, if you guys want to do something, I will give you the patent for free. You don't have to pay for it. But if you want to start a business, you have to go to a bank, you have to get a loan, and you have to believe in this and build it yourself. So my brother Jim and I learned the business. We were exchanging product with our local beauty school. I went through the nail course so I could learn how to do the artistry. And we went to a bank about a year later, and I did a sculptured nail on the banker's pinky using solar nail liquid and powder, the first innovation. And the banker, to this day, Daniel, I don't know if he gave us the money because he believed in us or if he just wanted to get the odor out of his office. But anyway, and so my dad for 2 more years worked on innovation, worked on the chemistry. Jim and I began to build the business, and it was like launching a rocket. Unfortunately, we lost my dad 2 years later, massive heart problem, but the vision of innovation with science-based education and connecting and serving the needs of the nail professional was his vision that we embodied, we embraced. And I'm happy to say now, over 45 years later, I am still 100% committed. If you know who you are, if you know where you're going, then you can get there without distraction, right? And I feel like that's why 45 years later, I still love what I do, because it's about the exciting innovation out of the lab, the creativity of translating that into education for the nail pro. And, you know, anytime that we can spend time with our pros, they're brilliant. They're brilliant. They've got the creative brain, they have the precision brain, and, you know, boom, that's where the magic happens.
You did it the hard way. You had to build it from scratch, basically.
From scratch, yeah. And when you build something from scratch, I mean, our inspiration was the education that we received from my dad. He was a visionary, he was a scientist, you know, he was a preventative dentist. So all of our concepts of being committed to nail health, you know, building something that is beautiful without destroying the natural substrate, these concepts came from him. So I feel like if you have that idea, that vision, if you know your point of difference, then it's grit, it's hard work, it's passion. And from day one, we, you know, hunkered down. I look back on it and I always say that naivete is bliss, because a lot of the difficult things we did, and we were, you know, naive, we were excited. We, you know, we had this vision that my father implanted. I also have to say that my dad was amazing because he really believed in us. You know, he could have said, I'm going to do this myself. But instead, I remember him saying to me, Jan, you can go to the moon. Follow your vision, follow your dream. And for your dad to say that to you, you have to believe it, right? It's for reals.
Well, once your parents say that, I would say you have everything you need to go, like literally. When you,
Right.
when you have the supportive parents like who like really believe in you, this is something like, well, what you need more. You will find out how to get the money. You will find out the ways. Yeah, but when you have the support for your parents, I think it's a fundamental part of success of every person. Yeah. I know that you have introduced many successful products on the market. Very, very successful products. But there is one I would like to talk about, and it's surprisingly CND Shellac. I remember it was in 2010 when our company started or became an exclusive distributor for CND Shellac for Czech Republic and Slovak. I remember so many people were really, how to say that? We set it up quite a high price for the CND Shellac at the time, and no one would believe we can sell it at all. And it became like, you know, number one in our market in like 1 year or something like this. We totally like run over the market in Czech. When you started, or when, my question is, because I could see it from how, you know, I was the first one who sold it in Czech Republic, and I could see the potential, how it worked, and I was like, wow. I was always curious about where the idea came from.
Well, so we have always had a beautiful planning group, top executives from every division of the company. And one day, it had to have been in 2005 or a little earlier. We were sitting around the table, I think we were at lunch, and we said, what are women, consumers, salon clients, what are they suffering from the most? And we started brainstorming, what are the pain points that women have with regard to their nails? And it dawned on us that nail polish had not changed in 60 years. And who was the innovator of nail polish? Charlie Revson of Revlon. He created the first ever nail polish. He would walk around with a pink one and a red one and a white one and sell it from the back of his car. But the formulas had not changed. They were based on nitrocellulose formulas that would break down within 3 days. So you would see little microfractures. So there was no gloss retention. It would begin to chip and nick. And for many salons way back in the day, they would actually tell their client every other day, put more top coat on, because nitrocellulose not only breaks down quickly, but it also yellows. So can you imagine having a French manicure and 3 days later it turns yellow? So we said nail polish has to change. And our chemist was in the room at the time with us. And we said, okay, chemical team, this is what we want. We want a nail polish that delivers just like, you know, the regular nail polish. So it must go on like polish, but it must wear tough like a gel and last for 14 plus days. But the key is that because we're all about health and wellness of the natural nail, it's got to come off in less than 10 minutes. So the chemical team, they were all charged up, excited. In our lab, we have the most world-class laboratory of its kind. They don't pull things off the shelf. They invent new molecules to fix problems. So they went to work, and believe it or not, it took 3 years for them to come back to us, and they said, we did it, we did it. It goes on like polish, it wears like a gel, and it comes off in 45 minutes. And we're like, no, deal breaker. It's got to come off in 10 minutes or less. So it took 2 years more. And so a total of 5 years in the lab. But here was the miracle of that last 2 years, is they integrated solvents, very specialized solvents, into the formula so that when you apply it on the nail and you put it in the lamp, the solvents evaporate through the coating, leaving little tiny tunnels almost like little ant tunnels through the entire coating from the top to the bottom layer. And what this allowed us to do is to take acetone on a cotton pad, put it on the nail, wrap it tight, set a timer for 10, and with the warmth and the tightness, the acetone would travel all the way down to the quick release polymers in the base coat. So when it hit the base coat, it would release it. And we now say butterfly removal. So if you're using shellac base, color, top, and the lamp is another ingredient, then these little tiny tunnels, we have 14 patents on shellac, and one of the patents is on these tunnels. So how beautiful for our clients that they can wear a flawless manicure that is as shiny in 2+ weeks as it is the day you get it done. But if the pro uses the system, you wrap, you pull, it flies off, and nails are completely healthy and untouched. That was the vision. And we not only achieved it, but you remember, because you were there with us, when shellac hit, it broke our website, it crashed the industry. It was maybe, if you look at all of pro beauty, it is probably one of maybe 3 of the most important innovations within the last 50 years. Maybe hair keratin would fall into that. I don't know what else, maybe improvements in hair color. But certainly shellac was one of the biggest innovations. We launched in May of 2010, and by summer, we sold a year's worth of inventory. We were out of everything and had to recalibrate, put double shifts on and order more bottles. And you remember, it really was a manicure miracle. And the only way it would have been achieved is with innovation, true science, a commitment to calibrating the light output with the ingredients in the formula to create that magic. But it is, honestly, it is an innovation lesson for probably every industry to see what can be done when you identify the pain points, when you realize what people are looking for, and you don't follow the industry trend, you create your own, right?
Yeah. I was obsessed with CND shellac, and I am obsessed with the CND shellac. That's why I was really interested about the background and how the idea came into the world. So
it's good, right? It's exciting. Yeah, it really like changed the direction of the industry forever. But you know what's interesting? We still have salon clients and consumers who don't wear shellac. So we've got to get, I can't imagine why every person on the planet wouldn't wear it. But I think what happened, we started a trend. It opened the floodgates to copycats. You were saying there were a couple of gel polishes around. Literally what we were seeing people do is take their gel and take their standard nitrocellulose nail polish and pour it into one bottle. And it didn't work. You couldn't get it off. It didn't, it didn't have the shine retention. It didn't have the optical clarity. So to be a pioneer, you were saying earlier, it's scrappy. You have to work on it. You have to invent new molecules to get different performance. And I think that's what sets CND apart.
Yeah. When we were talking about the CND shellac, I would like to ask you, what's your personal favorite product from your portfolio from the CND?
So here's the deal, and you were a nail pro early in your career, so you can relate to this. So my entire family from my dad's side, the Swedish side of our lineage, all born, including me, with ski jump nails. So my natural nails were like little spoons. When my first niece was born, I was in the hospital praying to God, please let her have normal nail plates. I literally, when I was in my first year of college, I had a sorority sister who went to nail school, and she was doing it on the side. She ended up opening a nail salon, and I had my first set of nail enhancements when I was 18, and it changed the perception of my ski jump nails. It changed my confidence in using my nails as a true accessory. It changed how I talked with my hands. And so for me, I'm like, if I had gorgeous nails, I would just turn to Vinylux or Shellac or even a little bit of Plexi Gel Shaper. But I need the power tool. And that's retention plus liquid with perfect color powder and a different design on every single nail. The dramatic nature of a liquid and powder transformation is like no other. And I'm lucky to have a pro who really understands architecture. You know, he does a phenomenal job of shaping. But if I did not admit to you today on this podcast that I have miserable natural nails, no one would know. It's my best kept secret.
So basically, there had to be a trauma with your natural nails to become one of the most influential human being in the nail industry.
Funny that I think it was destiny. Yeah. It's like I had my first set of nails. My dad said, I have this innovation, this patent. I understood it. I knew it. And with my art background, my knowledge of the service, there was a very small learning curve to say, I get it. Like, there are a lot of people out there, men and women, who not only have my nail trauma, but, you know, nail biters. How can a nail biter stop biting their nails? By transforming them, making them perfect. I have a philosophy that nail biters are on a quest for order. And so they bite this one and this one, and each one has to be the same. But if you create a full set of nails, it gives you instant order and there's nothing to bite, and it breaks the habit. You know, so I understood it from that point of view, but it then took a couple of decades to literally make nails a true fashion accessory. And so CND was the first to put it on the runways, and it really worked.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the nails are the part of the fashion, and it leads me to another question. Many people see you as a trendsetter in the nail industry, including me. You kind of like at least what I could see, you kind of like, you were the first one who tried to combine the nail industry with the fashion, and you bring the nails into Fashion Week, which was, I think, it was a great move for CND. As a trendsetter in nail industry, what do you see? What kind of trends you see in the near future? Let's say like 5 or 10 years.
Yeah. Well, the fact that we're talking fashion, can you believe, just a quick look back, 25, almost 30 years ago, when we started putting nails on the runway, I remember looking at the fashion roundups, and the hair was done, the makeup was done, the outfits were great, and the nails were bare. And so we, one designer at a time, said, you've got fashion accessories literally at your fingertips. Let's use them as a punctuation mark to the statement you're making with your clothing. Also, for them, it was cool because they're in the fashion business, but why not get the beauty press talking about you as well? And so that adoption, for me, I had 2 goals in doing that. Number one, I wanted to elevate nails to the status of fashion accessory. And in doing so, elevate the nail professional to be an influential fashion advisor. We achieved this. So with that as our history, now the trend is that we've got the technology for every level of transformation. We've got the artistry. We have the ability through education to do practically anything for our clients on their nails. And what I see the trend is that nails at last have emerged as a priority beauty service for many of our clients. You know, for many years, their priority was their hair, or their priority were their lashes or their eyebrows. And now the Wall Street Journal just came out with an article that there are many women and men who are prioritizing nails as their #1 beauty investment. So that means the personalization of length, of shape, of artistry. I think especially millennial women are watching the superstars in music, and you know, they're influenced by these amazing women who have also embraced nails. So I see the trend as nails being the ultimate statement within fashion, and anything is possible. Anything is possible. And we see that with products, as an example, Plexi Gel Shaper. Nobody had a crystal clear gel before Shaper. And with that encapsulation, crystal clear tips where you can float a diamond, you know, length, people are wearing their nails longer. Decoration, remember when there was only an accent nail? Wear a design that complements what the client is wearing. So I see innovation improving a great deal going into next year and beyond, making the service more convenient, longer lasting, and more exciting, more creativity coming, more intense colors, greater opacity. This takes some new science in order to get it to cure perfectly. You know, making a skinny line with our color is critical if you're doing line art or stamping or hand painting. So I see more nail professionals embracing it, driven by more consumers wanting it and willing to pay a premium price. That's a huge achievement, Daniel, because I remember back in the day, you know, the nail pro wasn't charging what the hair colorists were charging. And guess what? Per the Wall Street Journal article, not everyone, but the premium salons, they're charging as much as the hair colorists are charging. How about that for achievement? So, you know, my mission has always been to see the nail pro reach higher levels of their own success, to charge what they're worth, and to put their kids through the best schools, go on the best vacations, and, you know, make this career the best career it can be. Wow, how far we've come, right?
Yeah. When we were in March, you had we have a very beautiful presentation about the challenges that you had to go through with the CND, with all the crises. Can you point on the biggest crisis that the CND has to go through? Because you know, we can see the success story behind the CND, and what CND has accomplished is quite amazing. But I would like to also to tell the story about the hard times that the CND had to go through, because I think it's kind of motivational even for our clients, you know, because sometimes not everything goes as you want to. So can you point in some crisis that CND has to go through, and it was in your eyes the hardest one?
Yeah. Well, on one hand, I just want to acknowledge when you mentioned when we were together at IDC, I shared with our distributors that since I've been in business, we've been through 4 major recessions, right? So every decade we had a recession. We had COVID to deal with. All of these roadblocks and these challenges, for me, I have to admit, motivate me to say, what is the challenge going on in the world? You know, the health crisis, the economic crisis, and what can we do to help and support the nail pro, support the business continuing to grow. And that's through innovation. You know, and innovation depends on being a pioneer. When you're a true innovator, you are pioneering a new path. And that path doesn't always go perfectly. Hence, when we were talking about Shellac, it took 5 years, you know, so for people who say, oh, I want to be an innovator, and there are a lot of fast followers in our industry, they'll buy a knockoff product and try to compete commercially, but they're not changing the landscape of the industry. And I do remember way back, how far back? 30, maybe 35 years ago, we wanted to create the first ever light curable gel manicure before it was even anything. And we wanted to use visible light, not UV light. And we came out with a proposition called the solar beam. You probably don't even remember it, but it was like a handpiece and a hood, and it emitted visible light to cure our first ever light curable gel. And it was a miserable failure. It was a good idea, okay, but we weren't ready to accept visible only. And we needed to integrate UV to make sure that it was adhering properly, that it stayed glossy. The other problem with the solar beam is that it would burn out in 6 hours. And as we know, nail professionals work for 10 hours or 8 hours. We're on this rocket ship ride of success, and then solar beam hit. We shipped it all around the world, and within a year, it all came back home. And it was hard, you know, it depletes your cash flow. Instead of focusing on growth, you're focused on survival. I remember back then we were still quite small, and my brother and I didn't take a salary for a year, but we wanted to retain our good people because we knew that's what it would take to get out of it. During that time, though, I have to tell you, it was one of the most exciting times, even though it was scary. It was exciting because we knew we had a good concept, and that vision kept us going. We kept going back into the laboratory. How are we going to crack this idea, but do it successfully? And through that, what did we learn? Better field testing, better testing with our educators, taking more time. Shellac took a lot of time. Innovation doesn't happen overnight. And it's something that we had to learn the hard way, you know, because you can't, have we had failures? Yes, we've had failures, but you don't repeat the same failure. You learn from that failure. And, you know, the old adage, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, is the fact as a business person. It made us more cautious. It made us more confident because we knew we had to come out of it. And it told us on our team who had the tenacity, right, to pioneer. Not everyone has the gut to pioneer. Not everyone does, right?
That's what I think. Like that's the price for being a trendsetter. Because if you're really like the one who brings the trends and brings the new innovation in the market, it has the price, and it's exactly what you have just said. Because you never know what, you know, if the new products will be, how the market will react on the new product, you know, and so on. So that's way easier for copycats, just copying something that they know that it's already working. So and I think I have to embrace CND for this, because not that many companies in this industry are the trendsetters, like few of companies who are on the market.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. I think it definitely requires courage. Yeah, but listen, if you can endure and you learn and you listen and you work as a team, then you find the answer. And once you find it, it's even sweeter, right? Because you know you did it.
When you're talking about the Fashion Week, that you bring the nails artist and connect it with the Fashion Week, I saw that you were working with some famous artists. Can you name some of them?
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, when we realized that nails were bare, there was an up-and-coming new American designer. I don't know if you know her. Her name was Cynthia Rowley. She's now, I'm not sure if she has global distribution. She was our first designer. I thought she was young and fresh and let's give it a go. So we did her show, was really successful. Then we knocked on the door of Betsy Johnson because she's all frilly, but the nails are, you know, serious. And then we got our confidence, and this is where naivete is bliss. I'm like, we have to talk to Oscar de la Renta. I want to meet him. He needs our nails. And I called him. I'm like, really? Okay. And I got a meeting and I met with him and I said, why aren't your nails done on the runway? And he said, it's such a good point. I don't know why. Like they hadn't thought about it. He said, but I agree that you can tell a lady by her hands. And I said, let me do your nails. And so we did his show. And then the floodgates opened. Carolina Herrera, Marc Jacobs, Alexander Wang, all of them we worked with. Maybe a quick highlight story for me is when you know Marc Jacobs is a nail fanatic. Do you see him on Instagram?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Okay, he's wearing long nail enhancements decked out with gems and stones. He's always loved nails. But when he was the designer for Louis Vuitton, we did his show 6 seasons in Paris. And the first season that we worked with him, we were up until 3 in the morning with the clothing, the racks of clothing, the handbags, the accessories. And he wanted a 2-toned, colorful manicure. Not French, but a 2-toned, right? And so we had our team there and we were doing samples. He personally approved every single nail to go with each of the bags on the runway. And when his stylist said, why do you care? Like, why? He said, we sell handbags and the nails are front and center. So we have to care about nails. Can you imagine? And I mean, we did that. Also opened up some more floodgates. Moschino, we did their show in Italy. Pucci, I mean, everyone. Yeah. And I think they all realized that if you have a bare 10 accessories and they're bare, what kind of statement are you making? Let the nails, like, let's say bright yellow is a trend. If a woman doesn't want to wear a bright yellow dress, she can wear bright yellow nails and still be on trend, you know? And it changed the industry forever.
Yeah, I could say it because it was basically the first time I saw someone who brings the nail artist to the fashion week in New York. I'm like, how come? And then it's like, of course, it's logical, but especially when you're selling something like bags, or you know, when you are crafting something like this. So nails are like a logical way of you know, show the product. So yeah, that was a good idea.
Yeah. You know, even during pandemic where we all had to learn how to do virtual connections, Zoom meetings, webinars, etc., podcasts. You know, you're looking at someone as we're looking at each other, but we're still expressing with our hands. You know, your hands are a part of your communication. So even during pandemic, nails were critically important. And I know a lot of our pros were making press-on nails for their clients, you know, allowing them to do a little do-it-yourself at home in order to never have to have bare nails. So nails are always in the story when we communicate. It's a communication tool, for sure.
Do you have some specific influencer or artist who influence your work, who motivate you in your work?
Yeah. Yep. So I'll tell you lately who really influences my work is the return of Schiaparelli, which is the iconic designer from the 40s, who was the first ever avant-garde designer. So Elsa Schiaparelli was the first to do like a shoe hat. So the hat is a hat, but it looks like a shoe with a high heel and a point. She would do wings on the shoulders. She was very expressive. The New York Metropolitan Museum did an exhibit on Elsa Schiaparelli, and they compared her to Prada. How Prada, it can be very avant-garde from the waist down. And the philosophy, Elsa, back in her time, women would lunch. And so you wouldn't see them from the waist down. You would see them at the lunch table. Whereas in Prada's era, you go to cocktail parties, you're standing at an event. The whole outfit was important. But I really appreciate that both designers had an avant-garde vision where they could do something that was groundbreaking. It could be unusual. It could even be ugly in a really cool way. And they, you know, really pioneered. I would say also Comme des Garçons, the Japanese designers, have the same mentality where they don't follow trends. They make their own trend. And I feel like we can relate to that mentality. We're not followers, we're leaders.
There's one question for my colleague. When I was asking for to my colleagues, guys, I need some hints for the question for Jen. Yeah, and one of my colleagues, I promise I will ask. She was curious about what does the morning routine of Jan Arnold looks like.
Oh, you're talking? Okay, thank you for that. That's cute. Just start by saying I'm a night owl. I'm a night girl. So you know, I get most creative like after hours. So I don't really love mornings, but the morning routine is very dependent on good, strong coffee, a French roast with a double shot of espresso, no cream, no sugar. I don't want anything to interrupt the caffeine. And I really believe in the morning, like cleansing everything. So I do like a 32-ounce lemon water with a little olive oil and salt. And I feel like it really like keeps your system clean and helps to hydrate. And then and I do intermittent fasting, so I only eat dinner. So no food during the day, drinking water all day long, keeping active. I don't sit at a desk, I stand at a standing desk. And I'm a huge fitness fanatic. So on the weekends, 10 miles a day. I have a treadmill in my office. I'll run because the time is getting darker in the evening. I'll jump on the treadmill. I'll do 3 miles every night, and weights and yoga. Yes. Yeah, because I feel like if you keep your body clean, you stay strong physically, you do your best to sleep well. It's my only issue. I'm not a totally good sleeper, but you do those things, then when you're here, you can be present, you can feel good, you can be happy, you know, you got to take care of you, number one, so that then you can give to others. It's really important. And I know a lot of nail pros who maybe don't get up and stretch in between clients, or, you know, do invest in their fitness. But in terms of longevity, I would encourage them to embrace one thing. Like, you don't have to do it all, but embrace like a stretch class, or, you know, take a walk, breathe oxygen. I'm a big believer in breathing fresh air, you know.
Yeah, I know some breathing techniques from yoga. Yeah, there's and it really helps you to refresh the brain and to get the oxygen into the body, and you feel the difference. And I think it can be beneficial for like the nail technician, because you're basically sitting, you know, for like 10 hours a day, something like this. So I think it's crucial to find a routine of like a movement or something like this, because otherwise it will, you know, it will have some damage on your body.
Yeah. Well, and in yoga, you know, they say that if you twist, like a simple twist, that it resets your nervous system. So doing twisting is very, you know, you twist and then breathe into the twist, and it helps to reset your nervous system. Like if you're feeling anxious or you're nervous about something, take 5 minutes and do the breathing, the twisting. I can tell you're on my same page, right? You do a lot of what I do.
Yeah. I mean, like, I also do the intermittent fasting once in a while. Okay, Jen. There's just few more questions. Is there any interesting products that is coming up, or is there any news that you can talk about, or you can reveal a bit, or give us some hint?
Yeah, well, I'm not at liberty to break the news. I'm really not at liberty, but I want to tell you that there is big innovation coming next year. Probably back half of next year, you'll see the innovation. I will say 2 of them. You know, I always say at CND that we're famous for launching rockets, right? The big innovation. I believe that what we're coming out with is another rocket. And for many reasons, you know, it really supports our need to keep the nail pro ahead of the pack, with the ability to charge more because they have an elevated service, to get new clients in that maybe have never had gel polish. We've got to get them in to use Shellac, and we have found ways of enticing them and speaking their language by taking the innovation up in a couple of different ways. So I'm not at liberty to be detailed, but you will see by the back half, end of next year, we have some radical, like, big news.
Yeah, nice. I can't wait right now. I mean, yeah, I mean, like, literally the last biggest news on the field of nail industry was the CND Shellac. Afterwards, there were nothing like that was the breakthrough like the CND Shellac. So
we need another one. Yeah, no, it'll be, you'll love it.
Okay, Jen, what advice would you give to women aiming to succeed in business of nail design?
Well, I think they need to understand their power and their influence, and believe in it. Find their confidence. I met a nail pro. I had a chat with her on camera last week, and this amazing young emerging nail professional, so smart, so creative, and I said, you know, what is your vision? Like, what's your next step? And she said, Jan, I have no confidence. And therefore, if I see a dream, I don't know how to achieve it. And so I coached her a little. You know, when you are great and when you invest in your education and you are delivering services that delight your customer. You have to believe in yourself, charge what you're worth, keep pace with your product costs and your overhead, and find the vision. Make sure you're clear about where you're going, and then stay focused on that path. And honestly, work your tail off. It doesn't come to you. You have to work hard to achieve your mission, but stay clear about it. Don't let people distract you. Believe in yourself. Take a risk or two. It's okay to take a risk, and you will achieve it. You know, but I think some people, they get impatient, right? They're like, okay, I have a dream. It didn't happen in 1 year, so I'm going to give it up. No, no, no. It could take 5 years. But stay the course. Believe in yourself. Women have such influence. Nail professionals, we talked earlier, they're analytical and very precise on their left brain, but highly creative, highly connective. You know, they know how to influence their clients. For me, that is the most powerful pro that exists in the salon.
Yeah, Jen. Well, would you have some message to share with the clients here, clients of CND here in Czech Republic and Slovakia? I mean, like, I think you said it a lot of things right now. I mean, like in the previous question, yeah. But do you have something that you would like to say then?
Yeah, thank you for that invitation. I just want to say thank you to all of our clients, our nail professionals who are building your business, believing in the entrepreneurial dream, using intelligence through education to bring your CND systems to all of your clients. Thank you for relying upon Daniel and his team to support you and elevate you and educate you. It's very hard to do anything by yourself. I believe in teamwork. So I view all of you as members of our team, of our family in the professional industry, and especially at CND. We do things with intelligence, but we also do them with heart and camaraderie. I would also like to invite you to communicate with us. You can do it through Daniel. If you have questions, if you have like an idea or a dream, like a dream product or a color that we haven't come out with yet, or an idea that maybe you have that we haven't heard before, we rely upon your input more than you ever realize. So when you speak, we listen. Why? Because we are dedicated to high-end, beautifully educated nail professionals like what you've done in your area. And when I look back at the history of your company, talk about pioneering, right? The nail professionals who are winning, you did it out of pioneering and courage and creativity. So for that, you should feel very, very proud. And I thank you so much for Daniel for this time to connect with your amazing pros. I hope I'll come one day and visit you and meet this incredible team. But congratulations to you and to all of your pros.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your words to our clients. I know that you have a like very, very busy schedule, and you know, it's very, I'm very happy that you accept our invitation into our podcast. I thank you for everything that you're doing. I thank all your team for what you're doing. Yeah, have a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks to everyone. Bye. Yeah.